Hi, good morning everybody, and welcome to Fort Wilderness Campground. We're at Disney. I'm wearing my ears. And we had some time this morning, and so I wanted to work on my quilt project. I need my coffee. So, welcome to my channel. And my name is Juliet, and this is Colorful Threads. And we are doing a series called Sewing with a View, where I bring the machine outside. So I created a deck out of the back ramp of the camper. I have the machine outside for two reasons. The way I have it packed up in the camper, it's very tight. And I can't get the quilt around the machine and in the machine well to get it hooped so that I don't have any problems. So what I'm going to do is basically show you how to hoop it. We're going to get it hooped, and then I'm going to crawl up here and we're going to get this quilt on the machine and we're going to sew. And then after we're done with the sewing part, we're going to pack up the camper. I'm going to go inside and we're going to do the computer part where I show you how I set up the file that we're going to be sewing today. All right, so I think I'm going to get started with the hooping. My mother, hi Mom, has retired and has taken to making quilts, which is amazing. So she made this quilt for me. It's purple and green. It's got a flower pattern. So I created a design that is the same size as the quilt block that she created for me, which is basically a 12 by 12 square. So my hoop I'm using is the extra large 16 by 17 hoop, so that it's big enough to give me wiggle room to align my design to my quilt square. I'm not using any backing for this project because it's really not needed, since I have 2 layers of fabric and a batting in here, and it doesn't have to be a nice tight, stable embroidery, because I want it to be a quilt when I'm done. I've already done a test sew of the very, very center, and from there now I'm working out. So what I'm looking for is where to put my next square. I think I'm going to just go this direction because it doesn't matter which direction I go. This is the fun part, right? Okay. Here's my square. It is right here. This purple flower is the center of my square, and then I have the corners here. And it's not an exact project, and that's the part that makes this fun. I don't have to have my lines perfect. I don't have to have my corners perfect. I'm not doing this for a client who's paying me to be precise. I just want to get it quilted so that I can put it in the camper and start using this as my everyday quilt. Okay, so I've got it smoothed out pretty good. My corners of my square are here. They're about 1.5 inches or so away from the corners of the hoop. That's what I'm checking. Let's see. Now, I'm gonna put my hoop in. There's my corners. I'm missing these safety pins. There's my corners. Okay, good. All right. This should be close enough, but I think this side is a little too close to the corner, so let me just wiggle this fabric a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I do have to stay away from the edge of the hoop and follow those rules, because the last thing I want to do is hit the hoop with anything or be out of my sewing field, and then I have to shift the design. Okay. So I've pulled, my last quilting square was here. So I know this is all stabilized. So I'm kind of moved all of the extra fabric up this way. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. So my quilting is along here. So I'm going to take all this extra now And I'm gonna do one of the things that you should never do when you're doing embroidery, which is grab the fabric and pull it taut. Again, this is a specialty type of project, and I can get away with breaking all of these crazy rules. I'm gonna take these safety pins out because they were blocking the fabric from moving, and I'm gonna break this rule. I'm gonna go in and grab the fabric and pull it taut because I don't want any weird buckle or pucker there. The only time I will ever say grab the fabric and pull is during a project like this, when all of the rules go out the window. Okay, and I'm not over pulling, I just don't want any extra in here. Just like any other time you're doing embroidery, no extra. There is a weird bump right there, but I think it's gonna be out of my, yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. So I think I'm hooped and I'm ready to get up there on the machine and get this thing going. I've already loaded my design and I already have the color set. I'm using this purple up here in the corner. Okay guys, so I got the camera moved and I'm up here now. Let's get this thing on the machine. So the thing you have to pay attention to is everything. You have to pay attention to where your quilt is going at all times. So I'm gonna find the orientation of my hoop, right? I'm gonna grab all of the bulk that's gonna be in the machine so that I know where that's going. Get that in. And you know, I'm gonna take a second. Got that in, get my hoop on and locked a little bit. All right, now, what I have to look at now is what's going on right back here. Because this hoop is so big that it comes all the way to the back of the mechanical part of the machine here. And that's where a bunch of the bulk is gonna get trapped. So I need to check that and pull all that bulk under, all the way to the back of the machine. Once I get all that pulled to the back of the machine, I should be able to get my hoop locked in. And locked in. Okay, great. Bulk is in the back, out of the way. Let me walk around the other side, check the other side one more time. This side looks good. All pulled out of the way. Excellent. Now what I did in my design is I moved this 12-inch square to the horizontal orientation line in the software. And I did that so that I could find the corners of my square to get it rotated and orientated to how I have it hooped, because I'm not perfectly square. So I'm going to find my first corner and I'm going to do the laser alignment. Hoop and the arrow keys. Again, I'm watching out for the quilt. I'm going to find that corner. And I'm on the corner, do my laser left arrow, because I'm going to be centering. And I'm just going to hoop all the way over and see how far off I am. Actually not off too bad. Only about 1/2 inch. Laser left and then laser bullseye. Let it reload. I'm checking my bulk. There we go. This design is big, but it doesn't have a lot of stitches. So it's gonna sew quick. It's like a 5-minute sew. All right, now, before I hit the start button, I'm gonna trace it. And every square I do, I'm gonna trace before I sew, because I need to pay attention to what's going on back here. My washcloth high-tech wheel stopper. it works. And what I mean is here. On the back side of your machine, there's cables. This is the X cable that makes the machine move left and right. And this cable is free and open and accessible back here. So if my bulk on the back side of here gets jammed or stuck in these cables, it could, in a good situation, just jam the machine and stop it, fault it out, make you have to redo everything and start over. On a bad situation, it could pop that cable off the back of your machine, and then you're going to be down until you can get a technician to come back and retension and reinstall your cable properly for you. All right, so I'm checking my bulk, checking what's going on with this. I'm going to trace, and when I trace, I'm paying attention to back here. This is why I needed to be out of the camper. See all this? Beautiful. Perfect. All right. So it's not going to cause a problem. No jams. Once this is done with the trace, it should be done right there. I'm going to hit start. Let's get this done. Perfect. See, it's very quick. The stitches are pretty long. Beautiful. Drew, what is the stitch count on my design? 3,414 stitches. So like I said, it's a quick stitch. It's going to take me longer to hoop each square and get it safely on the machine than it is to run it. Beautiful. I'm so excited about this quilt. And again, it's a fun project. I'm not trying to submit this to win a blue ribbon in some competition. So if my stitch lines don't line up perfectly, it doesn't matter to me. I have my mother's work, and I'm gonna get to cuddle with that every night. That's what matters the most. Almost gone all the way around the edge, and then it comes back into the center. Drew, can you hand me my patches up there? So guys, a little bit of history about me. I have been doing embroidery with a commercial multi-needle machine for 22 years now. I am currently a technician, certified and contracted with Melco for repairs in the state of Florida, and I am a contracted trainer, and I've been a trainer and a technician with them for about 18 years, so I love embroidery. And my goal with this channel is to bring you tips and tricks that can keep you running smooth and easy and quickly, and tutorials on things that you can do to bring fun to your world. And instead of it always just being corporate logos all day long, maybe you can take some time and do something a little bit more fun and creative. Or maybe that's what you do, is all the fun and creative things. And this is something that you've always wanted to do. This is going to get your quilts done without having a huge long arm quilting machine that takes up 12 feet of your house. If you like my comment, please hit the subscribe button down below. Be sure to hit the bell so that you get notified anytime I post any new videos. And if you like this video in particular, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. In a previous video, I cover how to make these patches as my cue cards. It's doing the final stitch. I have it do one final stitch all the way around the edge. That looks good. Yeah, everything did very, very well in the back. Beautiful. Love it. It's going back to the center of my design, which is on that line. Pull this off of here. Excellent. Perfect. Oh, I left a blue bobbin in the back, so this square is going to be blue on the back side. Again, it's just a fun project. So there we go. If you can see that, I hope you can see that. We got some sun on it. Some quilting. All right, I'm going to get this unhooped, and then I will see you at the computer where I'll show you how I created the file that I stitched out today so that you can create your own for the future. All right, I'll see you soon. Okay, everybody, so we are back. So I'm inside now. We just made it in time, and so you might hear some thunder and lightning. Sorry about that, but here we go. So now we're going to set up the embroidery file for this, and I'll show you how I created mine. So let's get right on over to the software. Yeah, okay. Still working on my transition. Hope that worked out. So, okay. So this is a photo that I brought into my Design Shop Professional, and I'm working in Design Shop version 11. If I go to my help and about, it tells me exactly what version I'm on. So I'm on version 11 of the Design Shop Professional. And so I took the picture of the square from the quilt, and I wanted to have that to make my quilt square that I'm going to attach it down with, the 12 by 12 square, and just to make sure it all fits. So here is what that looks like. So I'm just going to hide that graphic so that I can see my file. So this is what I made. This is that actual design that I stitched out on the quilt, and this is that horizontal line where I said I had it so that I can line up the squares. So this is the one I have. I'm going to show you how to do a brand new one from scratch. So just going to start with a new document, and from here what I'm going to go for is the fill tool, complex fill input tool, and select that because I want to create a big just square of stuff. Let me turn on my grid, and so I'm just going to start in a corner, and I just need to get it in the software first, and then I can make my adjustments to it later. So and I might not even be true square. We'll figure that out. So then I'm just going to hit enter. The next little icon that you see connected to my pointer is asking me if I need to chop a hole in this, and I do not. So I'm just going to hit enter. The directions are down here. I'm just going to hit enter on my keyboard. Now it wants to know where I'm going to start sewing. I'm just fond of the upper left hand corner, and I'm going to stop sewing maybe the bottom right hand corner, and I'm just going to put my stitch line horizontal. And it gives you a big square of your fill. So I'm going to center that and check my size on that by selecting it. So yeah, it's way off. It's 6 by 5. So I'm going to turn off proportionate because I know I want this to be a 12-inch square. I'm just going to type in 12, and it's going to make it the size I want. Hit enter. Now I have the 12-inch square. So I know it's square. There we go. Now, this is a solid area of fill with an ungodly amount of stitches. We just want to do quilting. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to go into the Properties tab. Under the Properties tab, I'm going to look under the top stitching page, at my stitch type, it defaults to a fill because 95% of the time we want this effect. But this time we want to do something different. We can scroll down to this decorative stitch. And when we select that, we have a whole nother list of things that we can play with. And I'm just going to click apply so that it takes effect. It's going to give me this bead decorative stitch filled up. So there's these tiny little beads. So if I zoom in, you can see these little bead sections. But that's not the fill that I want. There's a whole list of pretty things in here, but I can't really see what they look like. So instead of clicking on each one and then clicking apply and seeing what it generates, I found a quick way to see what these look like is by going to the automatic custom shape input tool, and when you select that, it brings down this whole bar below, and I go to decorative stitches, and now it loads all of those pieces that make up these decorative stitches so that I can kind of get a clue. Do I want something that has some columns in it like this? Do I want something open like bubbles? That looks pretty neat. So this just kind of gives you what that is. So which one do we have selected? We have the geometric. So the geometric. So that's what this little shape turns into when it's in a solid area of fill. If that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. So if I wanted, for instance, this geo spin right here, I'm going to come up to the patterns and I'm going to click on it and go down to Geo Spin and apply so I can see a full screen of what that looks like. And we can even make this maybe a little closer like that. So, okay, I like Geo Spin. I'm going to go for Geo Spin. It's very busy and it's very tiny. So if I zoom in a little bit, let me close this. And I'm going to keep GeoSpin. I'm going to keep this properties box open. But I zoomed in a little bit, and on my grid, I have 1/2 inch dark squares. So that means within a 1/2 inch, it has all of these stitches. And this is way too close together to quilt. What I really want between each one of these lines is a 1/2 inch. So how do I do that? There are some properties that you can actually change in this Geo Spin, and that is your width and your height. And that takes the pieces of the design and enlarges the space between. So let's say it's at 100. Let's do the maximum, 500. Let's go 500%. Let's just see how drastic that is. 500. Oh, look at that. That worked out very nice. So now the space between these sections, look at that, is right at a 1/2 inch, which is what I'm looking for. So maybe not 500. Maybe I would like 450. A little bit smaller. There we go. That's much better. So that allows me to determine how much space is between these. So let me zoom out on that. That's what our full 12-inch square is going to be quilted with. And that's great. Oh, these are all about a 1/2 inch apart, so that's going to be good. That's what I was looking for in my design when I made this one. All of the spaces in here were about a 1/2 inch. And that also brings the stitch count down dramatically. You can see we're now at 15,000 stitches, and we started with what, 150,000 stitches. So really any of these designs that just tickles your fancy for that project, you can fill an area and do some quilting. Here's the shutter star. That's pretty interesting. So have fun with this and create something interesting and create something fun. But there it is. Basically, this is all done. So, okay, now we're done. but I did say that I moved the file up in order to do the laser alignment, and that is just simply grabbing my piece, and I'm going to drag the very bottom edge right on that horizontal line, so that when I do my laser alignment in one corner of the picture here and the other corner here, it's going to rotate the design perfectly where I want it, and my square of fabric will be up here I'm sewing. Okay. Okay, so have fun, and I hope that this tutorial was enlightening to what the machine is capable of doing. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my content. Give me a comment of something that you are looking for, or a tutorial you're trying to find of something interesting you want to do on the machine. I'd love to create that for you. And give me a subscribe if you haven't. And I am Juliet, and I'll see you later. Bye.